Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. We bring you the right information to empower you, the SME entrepreneur. Tonight on the show, we bring you a special show. Broadcast1 presents Disruptors. I'm in conversation with Samsonite to understand how over the past 100 years, they've managed to continue being innovators and disruptors in their space, and also what the way forward is looking like. Listen in to this special conversation. We're doing this very special conversation with the CEO of Samsonite India at the manufacturing facility here in Nashik. Jay, such a pleasure having you joining us here on the show to talk all things manufacturing, to talk all things innovation and disruption. But let's take a step back and talk about Samsonite, the brand. You are 100 years old in the market, started in the US, is now present in every country across the world. Very briefly, just talk to us about Samsonite, the brand.
It's 108 years, by the way.
Okay.
Started in 1910. It was started by Mr. Jesse Schrader in a town called Denver in Colorado. It's been a long journey. And you know, when we started making luggage, those were days when travel was limited. You know, it used to be very rich, used to travel. Travel was on ocean liners. Things changed. We've seen, what, 2 world wars. We've seen the swinging 60s. And of course, the present generation.
Sure.
So it's been a long journey. Okay. It's been a journey of innovation for the company, which is why, you know, when you look at how luggage has evolved from the trunks that we used to make in 1910 to the products that you see all around here, we've come a long way. This long journey of global dominance that we have today has happened because I think we've been listening to consumers across the world. And every step of the day, we keep listening to them. Sure. We keep listening to what they need, and this growth has happened. You
have a large share of the market here in India. Before we come down to the specifics about India, I want to talk about, you know, India, the market for you, how excited you are about this market, what sort of the plan is for India, how maybe it's a different market for you.
See, India, we came into India in 1996, 97. This plant that we are in was put up in 96, 97. It started in 96, it opened in 97. So it's been about 21, 22 years in India. It's been a good journey here. We've got many of our brands selling. We are a multi-brand company. Yeah. So we have Samsonite that sells here. We have American Tourister. In fact, American Tourister is India's biggest brand today. We are very excited about. Sure. In fact, in a recent global meet within the company, somebody mentioned that India is a jewel in the crown, and that gives us a lot of pride.
It's always good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll, you know, sort of break it up to understand really your India footprint. But I want to talk about innovation and disruption, and that's what today's show is all about, talking to India's biggest innovators and disruptors. My first question then is, what does innovation mean to you? How are you as a company and a brand then constantly innovating? You know, where does the innovation come in? Is it necessarily only the final product? Is it the processes you're putting in place? What is it? See, innovation is all about finding solutions to consumer needs, right? Now, this happens, like I said, our philosophy has always been to listen to the consumer. Now, when you do that, the consumer tells you in different ways on what is it that he and she needs. And you listen to them and you see what you need to change in your product. You decide what you need to change in your process to satisfy that need. So it's actually so simple. Sure. The first polypropylene suitcase, I think that came out sometime in the 60s. The shape of suitcase that we know it as was something that was innovated in the 1960s. The wheels on bags, we take it for granted today. Okay, now that and there existed a world where you didn't have wheels on bags.
Didn't have wheels, and somebody in the organization thought about it and saw the need. So we put wheels on bags, I think sometime in the late 60s. In the late 90s, we put 4 wheels on the bag. So, you know, today, what we call a spinner. Today, most of us use bags with 4 wheels, where the bag walks alongside you. Now, there was a time when the bag walked behind you. So you had those 2 wheels and you used to pull your bag and walk behind you. Now, this has suddenly changed the way we walk in an airport, the way we walk in a railway station.
Sure.
This has come out of listening to the consumer. Yeah, now one of our latest products, we call it Polygon. There are brakes on the wheels because there was a need that was seen that people, while walking on inclines, when they want to stop on an incline, the bag needs to stop alongside.
Let's talk about also how in these 108 years, you've disrupted the market. You're talking about constantly listening to the consumers. Is that perhaps what has helped to disrupt this market?
It's all about a culture you build within the organization. Now that's a culture which is deep rooted in this company. That obsession with the consumer.
Sure.
And listening to what she says.
Sure.
There are various ways of listening. See, in the olden days, there would not have been consumer research forums, and there would not have been formal consumer research companies, but the company had the philosophy of listening to people. Today, we do the same. Though we have these formal research done, we speak to consumers in a formal manner, there is the traditional way of still listening to consumers. Sure. Because you see, innovation is not something that happens in boardrooms. It happens right there. And so that, if you ask me that one big reason why we've been able to do what we've been able to do, it is that.
Sure. In fact, we're here at Nashik, so let's take a look at your manufacturing facility.
Yes, we must do that.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
So we're here at Nashik, and I want to talk in depth about this facility for you. It's one of only 3 manufacturing facilities that you have across the world, and just give us a sense of how important this facility is, how many people you have here, the kind of investments, and maybe what the future plan is.
We make about almost 10,000 pieces a day. We've got about 600 people working in the plant. It makes mainly hard luggage. So our products are a mix of hard and soft luggage. A lot of those changes have been initiated in Nashik. We have a wonderful team of people who've come up with a lot of those minor changes that are needed every day in improving these products.
Sure.
So India is seen as a big knowledge base within the organization. It's a team with an experience of over 20 years now. And something that I'm extremely proud of our manufacturing abilities.
So then what perhaps about India as a market then lends itself to manufacturing? What are some of the benefits of the USPs that you'd want to talk about for our viewers?
Oh, India as a country, anything that involves technology, this is the place to make something. So we came into India, I was telling you about almost 85 years after the company existed. And this was a big step for the organization to enter this market. And it started with manufacturing, and it has continued to grow every single month. So if you look at the manufacturing graph that you can see in any of the offices here, because of the talent that we have in this place.
Yours is a brand that is in the upper end of the price segment, and India is a very price sensitive market. So I'm just trying to understand how your brand really plays out, what your thinking is when it comes to the strategy of selling in India.
One thing that's common across all Indian consumers is that we are all very intelligent, discerning consumers. Now, I have worked across the world in many countries. People seek value everywhere.
Sure.
But the Indian consumer is a little more discerning than the average global consumer, I think.
Sure.
And what happens with the Indian consumer is that they look for extreme good value. So what we've done is that we've tried to launch a bouquet of brands in India. So there is Samsonite. So if there is somebody who wants the latest in craftsmanship and the latest in design and the best in functionality, there is a Samsonite available. When you want to be very high on functionality, very high on value, we've got American Tourister. American Tourister has become India's biggest brand because of that very reason, I think, that we're able to deliver the best of international products at a price which a lot of Indians could afford.
Sure.
And that's why it's such a loved brand today. We've in fact got a brand called Chameleont even in India, which we've launched, which is targeted at the smaller towns of India.
So we started this interview talking about innovation. And innovation, are you saying you're also doing it then specifically for individual markets that you're in? Like for instance, you're talking about bus travel in India.
Yes. When you travel on buses, you can't have very large luggage fitting in there.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, now suppose there's a category called a wheel duffel category.
Sure.
Now this is not a category that will be very big in Europe.
Sure.
Where people travel more by car or by flights. Here, because we have people traveling in these buses, we focus a lot on that particular category of soft luggage.
Sure.
Hard luggage, when you make in India, we always look at the texture.
Sure.
So we ensure that the products that we sell in India are extremely scratch resistant.
Sure.
Because Indians are concerned about these.
Sure.
And let's face it, our travel environment is not always the best. Consumer feels that the money that they spend on our brands is definitely worth it.
All right, we're going to take a very quick break on that note, but we will continue this conversation with Samsonite India coming up after this very short break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on this very special show. Broadcast1 presents Disruptors, and tonight I'm in conversation with Samsonite India. So for our viewers, then I want your insights, not just on, you were talking about India, you were talking about the tier 3 markets. You're a brand that's present in, globally. Insights about how perhaps India is different, and insights about why maybe your tier 2 and your tier 3 markets are different. If you're saying you have specific products for those markets than your metros. Is it pricing? Is it, the durability? What really is
It's not just about pricing. It's also about understanding that need of that consumer in that particular segment.
Sure.
My job when I look at the Indian market is to pick and choose from this entire bouquet of products that we have and launch them in India depending on the needs of the consumer here.
Sure.
And you see, most of how we work as a company, I was telling you about how obsessed we are with consumer needs. Sure. We have these meetings where every representative from we have a representative from every country who attends.
Sure.
Okay. Now the objective of going there is to put across what your consumer in your country specifically needs.
Sure.
And that is put into the team there, and that's how these products come out.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's interesting that you're looking at, you're saying you're taking the learnings from, say, a Brazil or a China, and also using that and seeing the applicability as far as India is concerned. Yeah. But my question is also to talk about how excited you are as Samsonite, as this global brand, about the Indian market. What's the kind of maybe growth strategy that you're looking at here?
Oh, see, India is one market where all our brands are growing so well. The country is growing. Okay, we are all Indians are prospering by the day. More and more people have started buying brands. Luggage was a category when there was a big segment of people who were not buying brands at all. Today they buy brands. They would love to buy international brands like ours. Sure. So it is growing in all segments. Samsonite, which caters to the very premium segment, it's more of a lifestyle brand today. A household name, but known for its great quality for so many years. That's growing. American Tourister, the most loved brand in the country today. When we advertise American Tourister, you would have realized that the recent campaigns that we ran, they were all about youth and energy. Yeah. So American Tourister is seen as the brand which has a lot of energy and youth in it.
Sure. You're talking about the domestic market, and I want to talk about branding and marketing. Now, you're someone who's very active as far as using digital and social media for branding and communication is concerned. Some of your brands and some of your campaigns, in fact, I notice are 100% digital. So let's start by talking about the strategy when it comes to branding and communication that you have, where there's a global strategy that you're then doing in India when it comes to digital and etc.
When we started, when we signed up with Virat Kohli, and when we were launching the first campaign with him, my team had come to me with a media plan, and they had suggested a fairly big chunk of the monies in digital. Okay. And I'll be very honest, I questioned it, and I was so wrong, because we spent a fairly good sum on digital in that campaign.
Will you be able to break it up in terms of
see, we spent about 23% of our monies of that campaign on digital, which I, in my ignorance of the time, felt was too high.
Sure.
But you see, digital surprises us. We've had for that campaign, I think we had about 65 million views in a matter of few days. Doing some for American tourists in the next 2 months. So digital will always, I think, keep growing in India. With more and more people, adopting technology, more and more people getting so comfortable with the internet. It's just the normal, a normal course for a brand to take.
Okay, you're a brand that's, of course, with this global footprint. How do you ensure that the core values are being communicated similarly to all of the geographies you're in? How do you maintain that?
And when it comes to a relationship with the consumer, even more so, because the consumer is finally investing in a brand like ours, and it becomes my commitment to the person to deliver the value that they seek.
Okay.
So I think that's something that helps us all. That one golden rule that we follow. In fact, every employee that joins the company is given a marble. We call that the golden rule marble, which gives this rule on it. So that's symbolically inviting him to, join this family and follow this golden rule.
Okay. I want to talk about the role that the brand ambassadors have had for you. Do you think it's crucial for businesses to necessarily have these sort of public brand ambassadors?
Our association with Virat has been very useful. The growths are here to stay. You've got to find the right match. So it's not easy. We found in Virat that exact match. Sure. What American Tourister stands for: upward mobility, youth, energy, leadership abilities. We found that match. So it's you can't say that every brand needs an ambassador, but it has definitely worked for us.
Sure. I also want to talk about the role that acquisitions have for you as a company. You've been very active when it comes to acquisitions. American Tourister, you've been talking about that to me in the high-end luxury luggage space as well. How important are acquisitions for you? How has that really sort of helped your footprint?
See, acquisitions, when do we go into acquisitions? When you feel that there is some particular consumer segment that you're not able to address with your existing bouquet of brands. I'll give an example. We acquired brands like High Sierra and Gregory. Now these are outdoor brands, backpack brands. High Sierra is America's leading backpack brand and outdoor brand. Gregory is a highly technical outdoor brand. Now these are not needs that Samsonite or American Tourister could have fulfilled. Hence these two brands coming into our family helped. Now similarly Lipo, the French company that we acquired. Now Lipo is a women's brand, and we did not have evening bags for women, daily bags for women within Samsonite.
Sure. So as we are running out of time on this interview, Jay, I just very quickly want to talk to you about what the future roadmap is looking like for you in India. We've been talking about innovation and how excited you are about the market, but looking down the road in the next couple of years, could you give us, what your insight is into how this market is going to change?
As a country, we are doing very well. As a company in India, we are doing extremely well.
Sure.
My hope is that we will double every 3 years. Our business will double every 3 years. It's been happening for some time, and I hope to continue that through the future. All brands are doing well. Samsonite focuses a lot on giving extremely good functional products at a very high level of craftsmanship and design. More and more consumers today look forward to that from Samsonite. We've been able to deliver that value to them. American Tourister has grown, as we were discussing, and I expect that growth trajectory to continue. Chameleon as a brand, it is the fastest growing luggage brand in India today since we launched. It's already crossed about 250 crores of business, in about 18 months, and I expect that to also grow at the same pace. So exciting times in India, and really looking forward to the next few years.
Okay, I want to step away for a minute from talking about the core business at Samsonite to also talk about the fact that you are very actively involved in CSR.
Yes.
In India, in the communities in which you're based. Just very quickly tell us what you do.
We do about 7 or 8 activities around this region. To name a few, tree plantation is something we've invested a lot of time. We believe that each of us owe it to the next generation. To leave them with many more trees than what we inherited. And that's something we take very seriously, and that's something which personally everybody is excited about. We all come for the plantations. There are parts of Nasik which we've been able to make it greener over the last. We've been doing this for about 8 years now, and we have time. We should see parts of Nasik which have been actually where we've planted thousands of trees.
Okay.
That will continue.
Okay.
We've also spent a lot of time and money in helping the education of the girl child amongst the poorest of poor in the area. Now there our colleagues put in a lot of time and effort. We put in money behind it, and we believe that that's something we owe it to the society here. There are parts of our society which need our help.
Sure.
And we want to give them that.
All right, Jay, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Samantha.
All right, that's our show tonight. If you have any feedback for us, as always, we love hearing from you, the viewer. Here's how you let us know. leadersoftomorrowtimesgroup.com is our email ID. Get in touch with us on our social media handles. Sunanda_J is my personal Twitter handle. LOT_ET Now is our official Twitter handle. Our Facebook page, Leaders of Tomorrow on ET Now. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.